Yo everyone! Today we're jumping into another seriously disturbing case. If you'd like to back my channel, please hit subscribe and stay engaged. It helps me out a ton, and I'd really appreciate it. Let's dive in. Relationships, be they friendships, family ties, romantic, or work-related, are a core part of being human. But not all of them end up being good. Some can be incredibly damaging, leaving lasting emotional and physical wounds. This is a terrifying story that started as a romance between a well-known dentist and her colleague. From the beginning, their relationship showed red flags of instability. They split up and reconciled multiple times over nearly 5 years. Despite the emotional ups and downs, she held on to hope, giving the relationship chance after chance. But the truth was, he never truly let her go. He used every tactic, emotional manipulation, pressure, and psychological control to keep her close. When she finally mustered the strength to take charge of her life and told him she was done for good, it triggered a chain of events with catastrophic consequences. By standing up for herself and seeking a new beginning, she unknowingly set her fate in motion. Prithi Reddy was born on October 19th, 1986, in the vibrant Indian city of Pimpri Chinchwad, along the Pavana River. She was the elder of 2 daughters born to Narasimha and Sharita Reddy, both highly respected medical professionals who ran a thriving private practice. The family lived comfortably thanks to her parents' steady and substantial earnings. Prithi grew up with her younger sister, Nithya, 4 years her junior. From a young age, the sisters shared a tight bond, practically inseparable, confiding in each other about everything, secrets, dreams, and struggles, always there for one another. Their parents raised them in a warm, supportive home, instilling strong cultural values and a deep respect for family. Education was paramount in the Reddy household, and the girls were given every chance to excel. As financially secure parents, Narasimha and Sharita spared no expense for their daughters' well-being and future. In 1996, the Reddy family made a bold move to Australia for better opportunities, settling in a quiet Sydney suburb where they bought a spacious home that became their haven. Pri and Nithya were enrolled in a prestigious private school where both thrived academically. Pri grew into a bright, beautiful, and charismatic young woman, friendly, outgoing, and ambitious. From early on, she dreamed of following her parents into healthcare, finding joy in helping others. After high school, Pri made a surprising choice. She returned to India to study dentistry at a medical university in New Delhi. Her supportive parents trusted her decision and gave her the freedom to choose her path. By 2019, Pri had earned her degree and moved back to Sydney, living with her family. She started working at the Hurstville Dental and Physiotherapy Centre in Western Sydney, while also honing her skills at the Royal Dental Hospital in Melbourne. Later, she joined Glenbrook Dental, a comprehensive care clinic, as a general practitioner. Dr. Prithi Reddy was highly skilled, passionate, and seen as a rising star in her field, always learning and refining her expertise. In early 2019, just before a life-changing tragedy, she was taking specialized courses in dental implants, with dreams of opening her own clinic in Melbourne. Sadly, those dreams would never come true. In 2013, while studying at the Royal Dental Hospital in Melbourne, Pri met a fellow dentist, Harshan, known to friends as Harshinad. Like Pri, he was of Indian descent and came from a family of healthcare professionals, following their path into dentistry. They quickly connected, and a mutual attraction sparked almost immediately. A few months in, they started dating, but troubling signs emerged early. Harshi was possessive and temperamental, often questioning Priya's actions, playing on her emotions, and controlling her through subtle manipulation. He chipped away at her confidence, making her feel inadequate. Nitya, Priya's younger sister, was the first to sense something was off. She knew Priya was seeing someone, but noticed her sister never introduced him to the family or brought him home, avoiding any detailed talk about him. Priya's behavior began to shift. She became withdrawn, insecure, and distant, her once bright spark fading. She seemed constantly on edge, as if under emotional strain. Harshi dictated the terms of their relationship, and Priya seemed trapped. Her parents repeatedly asked to meet the man in her life, but Priya dodged the topic or refused outright, clearly uncomfortable, yet emotionally tied to Harshi, unable to break free. Harshi lived in Tamworth, working at a local dental clinic, making their relationship mostly long distance, as they never lived together. He often pushed Priya to move in with him, sometimes pressuring her, but she always declined, sensing it wouldn't end well. Their relationship was rocky, marked by frequent arguments and emotional strain, with Priya constantly feeling pressured. For a long time, she kept it secret, only confiding in a few close friends, and Nitya, after about 6 months. Nitya met Harshi a few times, and instantly disliked him, later recalling something unsettling about his presence. By 2014, Priya and Harshi were seen together publicly, and their relationship was no longer hidden. Still, she never introduced him to her parents or agreed to meet his family. Soon after, they broke up, but Priya kept it quiet. This cycle of breaking up and getting back together persisted for years. Sometimes she hid their breakups. Other times, she didn't admit they'd reconciled. It was clear she was embarrassed by the unstable dynamic, intense arguments followed by emotional reunions. Harshi often accused Priya of not trying hard enough and repeatedly pressured her to move to Tamworth to live together. Priya, however, stood firm, unwilling to abandon her career or leave her family in Sydney. Harshi had no intention of moving for her either. In the fall of 2016, Priya and Harshi split again, and she hoped it was final. But Harshi wasn't ready to let go. In October, he planned a surprise party for her upcoming 30th birthday, but it never happened. Priya had already organized a celebration at her parents' home, with close friends and colleagues, deliberately excluding Harshi. Despite this clear message, he kept trying to re-enter her life, begging for another chance and promising change. While he never used physical aggression, his relentless emotional pressure left deep scars. Perhaps the absence of physical harm led Priya to give him one last chance, hoping for a fresh start. But things didn't improve. Priya still had feelings for Harshi, making it harder to cut ties, and he manipulated her emotions, guilting her into feeling responsible for their issues. In 2018, Priya made a final attempt to fix their relationship, but soon realized it was hopeless, no matter how much she sacrificed. That fall, she ended it for good. Weeks later, in November, she met a young physician from Melbourne. Their connection was immediate and genuine. Unlike Harshi, he was kind, attentive, and compassionate. For the first time in years, Pri didn't hide her relationship, proudly introducing him to her family and friends. She was visibly happy, hopeful about marriage and starting a family, and began planning a move to Melbourne, applying for jobs at prestigious dental centres. After multiple offers, she chose a clinic to join after tying up her work in Sydney. In December, Pri told friends she'd never felt this way before and had finally let go of the past. Her loved ones were overjoyed to see her so content. But the joy was fleeting. In January, Harshi learned about Priya's new relationship and, consumed by jealousy, started contacting her again, calling, messaging, trying to meet. Priya ignored him completely. By February, during a call with his brother, Harshi revealed he couldn't accept what he saw as betrayal, referring to Priya as if she was still his, and viewing her new relationship as a personal insult. He vowed not to let her marry someone else, hinting at drastic action. At the time, it seemed like empty threats born of frustration. On March 1st, 2019, Sydney hosted a 2-day international dental conference showcasing cutting-edge practices. Among the attendees were Dr. Prithi Reddy and her ex, Dr. Harshnad. Prithi stayed at the Urban Hotel, the conference venue, sharing a room with 2 close friends and colleagues. Harshi was at the Swiss Hotel, a few blocks away. After the first day, Prithi told her friends she felt uneasy. Harshi was watching her closely at the conference, waiting for chances to talk. His behavior made her uncomfortable, seeming unpredictable. That evening, the girls went to a nightclub to unwind, but Prithi remained on edge, constantly looking over her shoulder. The second day brought more tension, with Harshi following her and insisting they talk. Her friends urged her not to give in, but after the conference, Prithi reluctantly agreed to meet him, hoping to settle things and move on. She'd rehearsed her words, praying he'd accept her decision and end the drama. Around 6:30 p.m. on March 2nd, surveillance footage showed Priya's grey Volkswagen Golf leaving the Urban Hotel's underground garage, with Priya driving and Harshi in the passenger seat. About an hour later, they arrived at the Raviskant restaurant. Witnesses, including other guests and staff, later noted the obvious tension at their table. Prithi seemed anxious and eager to leave, while Harshi kept interrupting her and trying to hold her hand. The waiter recalled Prithi mentioning her move to Melbourne and her new love, asking Harshi to let her go, but he ignored her, talking about marriage and promising to move to Sydney. By 10:30 p.m., they left the restaurant and returned to the car, but didn't drive off immediately. They argued outside for over an hour, with Harshi trying to hug her and Prithi pulling away. They finally drove off near midnight, cruising through the city for 15 minutes before stopping in a mall parking lot. No one got out. Surveillance footage captured them in a heated argument, Harshi gesturing wildly while Priya was visibly crying. Around 2 a.m., Priya exited the car and went into a 24-hour fast food restaurant in the mall, buying a water bottle and lingering near the entrance, likely hoping Harshi would leave. When she returned, he was still there. They drove to the Swiss Hotel, where Harshi had a room. He led Priya past the front desk in silence and into his suite around 3 a.m. She never came out. On March 3rd, at about 10 a.m., Priya called Nithya, saying she'd be home in a couple of hours. 5 minutes later, she called Harshi, saying she loved him and they'd be together soon. That was the last anyone heard from her. Her family expected her by lunchtime, but she never showed. Her phone was off, highly unusual for her. By 3 p.m., panic set in. Priya always kept in touch and would notify someone if delayed. Her family called friends and colleagues, trying to track her down. As the day passed with no sign of her, anxiety turned to fear. They learned she'd been seen with Harshi at the conference, where he'd been persistently trying to reconnect. Nithya called Harshi, but he didn't answer despite his phone being active. That evening, the Reddy family filed a missing person report, suspecting Harshi's involvement, and began their own search, contacting anyone who might have seen Priya. Nithya posted on social media, sharing recent photos and asking for help.
Within 24 hours, the post reached nearly 2,000 people, including Pri's former patients, many of whom offered to help, but no one had concrete leads. Harshi remained the only clue, still not responding. On the afternoon of March 4th, Harshi finally answered Nithya's call, sounding eerily calm. He said Pri was an adult and would turn up soon, admitting he saw her at the conference, but claiming they only spoke briefly before parting. An hour later, he called back, furious, yelling at Nithya for contacting his friends, family and colleagues about Pri, accusing the Reddys of unfairly targeting him and ruining his reputation without proof. His lack of concern for Pri's disappearance and focus on his own image raised alarms. Once it was clear Pri had met Harshi for dinner, he was likely the last to see her. Her family urged him to give a police statement. Later that day, Harshi went to the Sydney police station, claiming he wanted to help. Officers noted his nervous behavior, sweating, pacing, and erratic gestures. He admitted to seeing Pri at the conference and dinner on March 2nd, saying they had a final talk to close their relationship, after which he claimed he called her a cab. But his story didn't hold up. He contradicted himself and struggled to keep his timeline straight. With no solid evidence, police let him go, but mentioned they were reviewing surveillance footage. That comment seemed to unnerve him. Hours later, Harshi returned to the station, changing his story. He admitted Pri drove herself in her Volkswagen Golf, not a cab, claiming he'd lied because he was nervous and thought the detail was unimportant. That same day, March 4th, news broke of a fatal car crash on the New England highway. A BMW had veered into oncoming traffic at high speed, smashing into a truck. The driver, identified as Dr. Harsh Nard, died at the scene. Surveillance footage showed he'd deliberately accelerated into the truck's path, suggesting self-harm. The detective's mention of surveillance footage likely panicked him, as he realized police would soon trace his and Pri's movements, including her entering his hotel room and not leaving. The next day, Pri's Volkswagen Golf was found abandoned in a quiet Sydney suburb. In the trunk, inside a large blue suitcase, was her body. Forensics confirmed she'd suffered a severe head injury and 11 stab wounds, mostly to her neck and back. 2 days later, with footage and witness accounts, police pieced together the events. On March 2nd, Pri met Harshi for dinner, likely hoping for closure. A waiter overheard her sounding distressed. After dinner, they drove around for hours before reaching Harshi's hotel. He likely manipulated her emotions again, and she may have gone with him to calm things down and explain herself. Since she never left the hotel, police believe the tragedy occurred in the room. A forensic sweep found blood traces in the bathroom, cleaned so well that housekeeping noticed nothing.
Pri likely stepped into the bathroom to call her new partner, and Harshi, overhearing, may have snapped, attacking her from behind with a sharp object. Afterward, he cleaned up, extended his hotel stay, had breakfast, and went shopping, buying a large blue suitcase and cleaning supplies. Around 5 p.m., he checked out, casually dismissing the suitcase's weight as gifts for family. He drove Pri's car to a quiet neighborhood, abandoning it, then retrieved his BMW and headed toward Tamworth. He stopped at a gas station, ignoring Nithya's repeated calls. Harshi likely thought he'd covered his tracks perfectly, unaware of the extensive surveillance footage. When he realized police would soon have undeniable evidence, he ended his life rather than face justice. Harshi's family struggled to believe he was capable of such a brutal act. The Reddy family, shattered by Pri's loss, took action, launching an initiative for Australia's first centre dedicated to women affected by domestic aggression, offering shelter, legal guidance, and support for escaping harmful relationships. They funded the project and raised awareness through media, ensuring victims knew help was available. Thanks for watching, everyone. Your support means everything. Please like, comment, and share this video to help my channel grow. Catch you next time.